What's up, YouTube? Where are we at? 131.7 hours. What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys been out there building shit. Believe in your own two God-given hands. Building, fixing, creating, doing art projects, building up your self-esteem, your self-worth. Guaranteed you're not going to do that sitting on your couch, sitting at home, sitting idle. That's what this channel is about. So anybody that's new, hit like, hit subscribe, follow along if you want, if you believe in hearing that kind of message. So I've had this little Kioti tractor a little over a year, and I'm at about 132 hours. Just got done running over it with a grease gun. I'm a couple hours over the 10-hour mark. I usually try to do it on the 10-hour marks. Not prescribing that, not saying that's right or wrong. I just, that's what I do. But just got done going over with that. A little bit frustrated, still having some loose bolts and stuff, which with my little tractor, Cowlitz River Rigging in Longview, Washington, they are the ones that sold me my tractor, and the mechanic told me later that they let my tractor out of there without it getting inspected, without it getting the bolts tightened. When I bought it, the hydraulic hoses were hanging super low. They weren't even zip tied up and out of the way. So that's led it to the bolts always being loose, because they loosened up and then they just, I feel like it just wallowed them out or something. So I'm going to end up having to replace the lock washers at this point, and hopefully that's going to help. But we'll see. We'll see. Just been frustrating. But this video, the reason why I'm going to make it is like a 1-year review, okay? I'm going to say this. I don't necessarily think that I'd recommend the Kioti ck2610 for somebody doing as much work with it as I have. I bought 2 acres, and I'll show you a couple pictures of, when I bought it and now. So as you see, I've dug a lot of big stumps. I've moved a lot of big stumps. I brought in a lot of gravel. We're close to, yeah. I couldn't even imagine how many yards we're at and stuff. I'd have to do the math. But we've spent a lot of money, a lot of truckloads, probably at least 25 to 30 truckloads of gravel up here. And those are at least, 12, 13 yards, whatever, 14 yards, depending on the truck that it's been. But, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend the little Kioti ck2610 for as much work as I've done. But the property's getting to a point now that it's just going to be a maintenance tractor. And also, if you followed the channel for a while, you remember our old Massey Ferguson Bessie. We ended up selling that, but we couldn't transport that. It was like 12,000 pounds. It was just too heavy to really move around easily, and that's why we got the little tractor too. It wasn't just for our property, but it was for portability and to be able to, help other people with projects, jobs, whatever. So we've been able to, help friends with yard projects. We've been able to help with retaining walls. We've been able to help digging stumps. I helped replace a sewer line on our own property. We'll take we could take a quick walk around. Not just have we installed all the gravel and stuff, but we've installed, power to our pump house. We installed the power on our property with it. We installed water spigots and dug the trenches for that. We've done retaining walls. We've done a patio. We've done, it's an invaluable tool to us. I do feel like it's a little bit underpowered with a full load if you're, climbing hills and stuff. If you've got real hilly property, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this tractor. Even in low range, you know, low gear or whatever. You put a load in a bucket and it's a turd on the hills, man. You probably do better with, I think it's DK35 or whatever, but I haven't ran one of those, so don't take my word on that. Now, for an honest review of the tractor, I've got a couple things to say. One was the loose bolts. That was annoying. Next off has been, it just dents up and stuff really easy, the fenders and whatnot. So I'm going to turn around the camera and we're going to give it a walk around. I'm going to point at some things, some things that I've gone through with it, etc. Alrighty guys, so the bolt that loosens up the most on the loader system is this guy, and that might just be because it's the bottom one, and I'm not complaining about those ones loosening. It's not that big of a deal. The ones that I do got an issue with loosening is these guys, and you can even see I've smashed out the washer. Like I said, I'm going to replace it on 2 of those. Those 2 still look good, but those loosen up, and the washers were mashed by the time I even tightened them the first time. I put Loctite in there. I've done different things, and it's just not working out. And I think that it's just because it got so loose from the very beginning and messed up the holes or messed up the lock washers or whatever. So that's number 1 complaint. Number 2 complaint, ground clearance. Okay, this thing, especially with the backhoe on, is so low down, and then you've got that hangs up. Ground clearance on this thing, it can get stuck in its own shadow. If it looks at a ditch, it's gonna get stuck, guys. So my property's pretty swampy, pretty boggy. I've had a lot of problems getting stuck, getting hung up, getting whatever, especially if you've got this on. But even if you take it off, you've still got this, and you've still got the mount that holds it. It's hanging down there. So if you've got a backhoe, man, yeah, that's about all I got to say about that. Next issue, my to lock the rear differential, that thing bent within the first couple times of me using it, and then it made it harder and harder to engage. Now it's bent so much that I need to take that off, straighten it, and hopefully I can get my rear differential lock again. So that should probably be a little bit stronger or adjusted better or whatever. Next complaint is the electrical. Okay, now in its defense, this tractor, like I said, I bought, you know, me and my family, we bought this 2 acres. We haven't had it undercover and stuff. We haven't, you know, we haven't been able to. We just bought the property. We didn't have a carport. We didn't have a shop yet. So one day I went to start it. It crapped out because there was water in the ignition or something like that. It fried but they did come and warranty it. They fixed it. They got it good. Now, my 4-way flashers don't work. And they told me, oh, you got to schedule an appointment, bring it in, and we can get it fixed. Well, it just hasn't been that important to me to get the 4-way flashers fixed. So I haven't really dealt with it. Now, my next complaints, or, you know, reviews. And bear with me, guys. I'm giving these complaints or nitpicking or whatever just to show you guys some of the things that I've dealt with on my tractor, you know. All this is good. What was I getting to? Oh, yeah. The backhoe. Now, the backhoe assembly. This is my issue with it. Okay. You see that? That's a problem. Right? And it does it on this one too. Oops, that's gonna let down, but you see that? Isn't that an issue? And it doesn't matter how you adjust those. That happens. And that's led to a lot of damage on my tractor, which is why I'm pointing it out. Okay. First off, it ripped out a bolt on this side that held that, because I wasn't using those. I was just using this, and I ended up hooking, bam, so it popped a bolt. It broke. That was loud. It scared me. On this side, it ripped the thing clear off of this because I caught it, and it was, you know what I mean, I didn't want to. The other thing that it's done, is it's pushed this in so much. See this? That's mashed in, this is mashed in, and it's cut into my hydraulic line. Quite frankly, I feel like that should be a warranted issue. I feel like all these should be a warranted issue, because it shouldn't be tearing itself apart. And just to clarify what these are for somebody that doesn't have one of these tractors, basically this little thing goes out like this and hooked on to a little pin that was on that side when you pull these up, to where the hydraulic pressure doesn't, you know, leak off and let them down. Here's the pin on this side. So I ripped the pin off that side and ripped the bolt off this side. So basically both sides are screwed. These are the hydraulic lines that I was talking about. When I first bought this, these all came straight down here, like way down, hung down, all the way to here and back. You guys can probably go and check out videos of it. But when I went back to Callus River Rigging, they told me that, oh, if yours got out of here like that, then that's why your bolts are loose. Blah, blah, blah. All my backhoe bolts all rattled out when they installed that. I had to go back and get an entire set. So, yeah, I guess they just didn't know how to tighten bolts, a certain mechanic or something. But like they said, they got through without getting set up, quote unquote. So it just came off the truck basically and given to me without their mechanics looking at it or something. But either way, frustrating. So I just wanted to point that out. And at first, I mean, it was ridiculous how low it was, and I actually made a video complaining about that. But otherwise, you know, it does dent up a little bit, you know, easily. The grill being plastic, I built a brush guard on there, hoping to protect it more. And as you see, I've damaged my brush guard, so obviously it is protecting it more. I got a dent there, and then dents on the other fender. And quite frankly, I just feel like it should have been made a little bit heavier metal. You know, a tractor shouldn't, when a branch gets caught or something, dunk, 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 and just rolls up, it shouldn't destroy it like that. But whatever, it's still functional. So that's kind of my review, guys. Hope this helps somebody making a decision on this little tractor. As far as maintenance, it's pretty easy. Like I said, I grease mine every 10 hours. I did the, you know, all the filters and oil and stuff at the whatever mark it was. I don't even remember. But basically, I've just followed the maintenance, you know, as laid out in the book and stuff, and it's all gone pretty straightforward and pretty easy. It's easy to operate. It did have a little step here, but again, I bent that a little bit, and so I just figured just get it out of there so that it didn't smash in my floorboard or something. So I ended up taking that off. My wife doesn't really like it, you know, being higher up. But it's a comfortable tractor. It's easy to drive. Even my wife finds it easy to drive, you know, just the forward and back. And it basically holds itself. Once you let off the pedal, it just, you know, you don't even really use the brake that much. So, you know, that makes it easy. All the controls and stuff are easy to reach. I did lose one of my knobs off here. That kind of made me sad, and I knew it when I did it because I seen something rolling across the ground, and I'm like, oh, what was that little ball? And I was driving at that point. I wasn't operating back here. I'm like, oh, what was that little black ball? Oh, I wonder if that was like a dog toy or something that I just buried. And then I got back here, and then I was like, that wasn't a dog toy. Like, yeah. So that kind of sucked. But I'm just gonna get some orange ones or something off eBay and throw on there. I should probably adjust my seat. I hit my legs on this a lot. I think I could go up a notch, as you see there, and maybe move it here to adjust it. But I haven't really messed with it a whole lot. It's done everything that I've asked of it, though. I will say that. So I guess I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. I don't want to be too long-winded. I've had this on, on country roads and whatnot, driving it to go get fuel or to a friend's house to work that's real close. It does just fine. I've never really been able to use it in high, so it's basically got 3 speeds, but the high is like, it if you're on unless you're going downhill, I guess, that's the only time that the high range really works. Yeah, I guess I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Oh, lifting capacity. Lifting capacity. I'll show you guys a couple pictures. I lifted a 7.3 IDI with a C6 transmission, so I'm assuming that was around 1,200 pounds. That did pretty easy. I also lifted a Cummins 5.9. That was not very easy. I've towed out the big dump truck just fine, put it in low, and creeped on forward. I do have 800 pounds worth of liquid in my rear tires, probably helps me, and I had the backhoe on at the time.